Hey everybody, today I'm going to be taking a look at all of the new board games and expansions that I've added to the collection over the last month or so, just to give you an idea about what is coming up for review and coverage on the channel. Now I have quite a few games here to talk about, I believe over 20. Some of them I know more about than others, some I've played, some I haven't. But before I get into the games, I want to give a shout out to the show's sponsor, kienda.co.uk, who are my go-to online retailer. And if you use the link in the show notes or the QR code, then you can get 5% off your first order. But let's start with probably the most interesting game to me on the list, being such a huge Stefan Feld fan. This is the Druids of Adora. So it's actually quite a quick turnover between when I found out about this game and when I had it on my table. So again, this is a new Feld design, not a reworking or anything like that, and by Alea. So I really like Feld's Alea line of games much more than the Queen collection. First off, you can actually afford these games. They look much nicer and they just have much more of a classic Euro feel. This is definitely Feld going back to his roots, proper mechanical, gears working, abstracted Euro goodness. I will share my thoughts in a review soon. I have played it a couple of times, so excited to speak to you about it. So this is Druids of Adora. So Stefan Feld fans, if you weren't aware, this one I think came out at Essen. So check that one out. On to a couple of smaller games. We have Sea's Catalogue. I don't really know much about this one, but I believe it's a card shedding game. Again, I've not looked into the rules, I've not played it yet, but just one to be aware of. We have Noobs in Space, another game I don't know too much about. These were picked up by my brother. I believe this is a co-op card game. I'm not sure what it consists of mechanically. We played a couple of good actual co-op games recently, not normally my forte, but who knows, this could be another good one, and we could be on a roll when it comes to good co-ops. I actually ended up buying Agent Avenue, and I was very lucky actually, and I wasn't expecting it. NerdLab actually sent me another copy and the expansion as well. So this is a two-player only kind of cat and mouse bluffing game where you are playing these cards one face up, one face down. Your opponent will choose which one they want, and you'll get the other one, and then you'll move around this little track, and you're trying to catch your opponent. Depending on the quantity of cards that you have will determine how fast you move when you take that card. I won't go into too much detail, but I have to say one of the coolest things about this game is that from the very get-go, you are vulnerable to losing or winning, hopefully. So it's tense from the very start. The expansion, I think it just adds a couple more new cards in, so I believe you can just throw this straight in to the base game. This one's still in seal. I have played Agent Avenue a few times. I have not tried the expansion yet. That is the Division M expansion. I was also very grateful to receive from NerdLab Mindbug and the Mindbug King of Tokyo version. So I'm not too up to scratch with what Mindbug actually is. From my understanding, it's kind of like a CCG, kind of like Magic the Gathering, except that you don't have your own deck. And I also, from what I've read, you don't actually have to charge up your power resources, so you can kind of play quite powerful cards from the get-go. So that sounds way more up my alley than having your own deck where you can just power creep. So yeah, hopefully these are good. I'm not quite sure the differences between the two. It looks like the King of Tokyo version uses dice, as you'd expect with dice as you'd expect with a game like King of Tokyo. But I'm actually quietly optimistic about this one, so hopefully it's good. But I think the reviews in general have been very good. So for a little self-contained head-to-head dueling style game, hopefully Mindbug is going to fit exactly what I want. I took a bit of a speculative punt on Tholos. This was on sale at Kienda. I got it for a ridiculously good price. This is another two-player abstract, super abstract game with a great table presence, actually, as you are building up these little plinths, these kind of Corinthian columns. And you're trying to have the most presence in those columns to get the most points, but you are incentivized for your opponent to have some stake in that column because you get more points if your opponent's pieces are in it. So I like that little back and forth, but is it good? Stay tuned. Another game that I was keen to try is Leaders. Again, I have played this one quite a lot now, which might be an inkling of how much I think of it. This is another 2-player only abstract natured game. In fact, it is pretty abstract in its feel, where you are trying to capture your opponent's leader by moving these different pieces around this this grid or this map, this hex style map. And all you're trying to do is you're trying to get 2 of your pieces next to your opponent's leader, but all of the pieces have different powers. Like, for example, some can push pieces out the way, or some can use like a grapple hook and fly across the board. Some can move faster, and so on. And it's all about trying to kind of capture your opponent off guard while they're trying to do the same to you. And one of the things I really like about it is that you start with like only 1 piece on the board, but turn after turn you kind of drip feed new pieces onto the board, so you can learn the powers as you go. Now, not like the powers are particularly difficult to understand or remember, but I thought it was just a nice little feature and a nice little way to kind of crescendo the game. So that is Leaders. A couple of games here that I have not played. This is Twilight Inscription. So this is kind of doing the rounds in the UK at the moment. For some reason, there must be a huge surplus in stock, and you can get it for dirt cheap. This is obviously the roll and write version of Twilight Imperium, a game that I have played many years ago, and I have to admit I didn't really like it. It's too long, too fiddly, and too lucky for me. But the roll and write version, certainly a lot to look at, quite daunting. But my brother has played this one. He said it is very good, so I'm quite excited to try it actually. And no, I'm sure it will be a quality design. You know, I do appreciate Twilight Imperium. Not like I think there's going to be a lot of crossover between the two, but it's just not my style. This one being more, mechanism based, more, number crunching, that might be more up my alley. My only concern is the time on here. It does say 90 to 120 minutes. That might be a bit of an issue when it comes to a roll and write style game, but again, I'm sure and I'm pretty confident there's a lot going on here to mull over. So that is Twilight Inscription. Again, quietly excited to try that one. Another older roll and write style game, Roam and Roll. I think this is one of the oldest, like David Turtsey designs. Okay, I don't quite know how it works mechanically. I assume it's pretty simple, getting upgrades, boxing things off, and so on. Now, as a whole, I do like roll and write games. I'm not quite sure how long this one is. It does say 60 to 90 minutes. Again, maybe a slight issue. But again, if the game's quality and it's presented to you in the roll and write format, then I'm sure I can overcome that. Just I tend to, as a pattern recognition, I seem to enjoy shorter, quicker, lighter roll and write style games. But hey, this could be excellent. That is Roam and Roll. Just trying to not to make these games fall over. Get this over there. Right. Another expansion here, we have QE, the Commodities expansion. So I'm a big fan of QE, a great bidding game where you can bid whatever you want. I remember this being on Kickstarter, and we didn't pull the trigger and pick this one up where we really, well, in retrospect we shouldn't have, but at the time we thought we would never get our hands on this one. Fortunately, it has come in stock in the UK, and I believe, well, from almost all opinions I've heard about this game is that this expansion makes the game even better, and it's like a no-brainer. So actually really excited to try this one, because I think QE is a great game anyway, and I love it when expansions make great games even greater. So and hopefully there's not too much overhead to add into the game, and to keep it, not to make it too fussy. I still want it to maintain its simplicity. Another game that I've had on my radar for some time is AI 100% Human. Another game that I'm yet to play, but this looks right up my alley. And what I like is a little card drafter and a little tableau builder. As you're placing these cards in your own little tableau, trying to optimize their placement and score as many points as you can. I'm not sure about the ins and outs and how the game actually works, because I've not read the rules and I've not played it. But just from these pictures alone, this has me salivating. I think I'm going to like this one. I'm quite confident of it. 45 minutes, 1 to 6 players. Hopefully, again, mechanically it's easy, and it's all about trying to optimize those cards. So again, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like this one. That is AI 100% human. Some games as well. I've not got the physical copies with me yet. We have a Deep Dive, a very light push your luck style game. Tacta, this one, an unusual game where you're kind of laying cards on top of existing cards, trying to cover up your opponent's kind of dots on their cards and try to keep as many of yours exposed as possible. Seemed to get a little bit of hype recently, so there's that one. Quicks, another one of the proper OG roll and write games. As light as it comes, I've not actually played Quicks yet. I did have a brief spell playing Quinto, which I'm sure is very similar, if I recall. So those kind of completely inoffensive, just turn your brain off, roll and write games, I tend to really jam with. So I'll play that one, I'm sure. We have In Front of the Elevators. So this is from the great Sashi. Again, 9 times out of 10, I enjoy Sashi games. Of course, I think some are better than others, but I don't think there's been any terrible ones or even any bad ones. So that's a good pattern. In Front of the Elevators, I believe, uses a kind of queuing mechanism. So if you're familiar with games like Guillotine or Beastie Bar, this one is Sashi's take on a game like that, which I'm interested to see because I really like the concept of those other games I mentioned, but they're just a little bit too chaotic and wacky for me. I think maybe a designer like Sashi might keep it on the rails a little bit more, so hopefully that is the case. We have Bottle Imp. This was picked up by my brother. A trick-taking game, which is supposed to be a bona fide classic. I don't like trick-taking, but hey, maybe I might like this one. We have Pixies, actually recommended by a viewer of the channel. This one, again, I don't know too much mechanically about it. I believe you're just playing cards and trying to build or put them in line or something. Again, not quite sure, but it seems pretty light. We have Panda Panda. This is a simple set collection card game from All Play. I did look at this one back at the Games Expo. I decided to pass on it, but obviously we've got it now. This one, I think you're just building sets of cards in different patterns and so on. And also Odin. Odin, another card shedding game. From what I've read about it, it does seem like it's super light, where you're just playing numbered cards. Then the next person can follow it as long as they've got like a higher combo of numbers and the same colour, something like that. So it just seems like a very straightforward, stripped back card shedding game. Vampire Queen, which I think is a Wolfgang Kramer design, another card shedding game with a little bit of nastiness to it, as you can force your opponents to pick up cards. And the final game is Super Mega Lucky Box, which is a bingo-esque style game where you're trying to complete rows and columns after flipping cards. Once you do complete these rows and columns, you can tick off the bonus, which might let you tick off other cards and get combos and so on. So again, super light and obviously lucky stuff by Phil Walker Harding. Another couple here that I almost forgot about. We have the Shipwreck Arcana. This one, a weird deduction cooperative game, as you are basically trying to work out numbers that your opponents have, and by using these clue cards. Super difficult to explain, but it's pretty funky, and spoiler alert, I like it quite a bit. And the final game is a game that I never thought I'd have my hands on, is Scorecards. I remember this being reviewed on Dice Tower a few years ago, and it's just been completely unavailable here, and for some reason it's popped up somewhere. So this is like a super tactical card game where you're playing cards from your hand. They all have numbers on them, which will kind of work with the scoring conditions of other cards you're playing. So, for example, when I play this 2 card, it will say score 3 points for each green card, that you have, and so on. And you're just trying to squeeze every point well, as many points as you can out of each card play. Just literally a pick up and play style game. That is Scorecards. So that's it. That's all of the games that I have added to the collection. Some interesting ones here, you know, brand new ones, old ones, card games, board games, Euros, you know, Stefan Fell games, co-op games, roll and writes. So almost everything under the sun here. So hopefully there's something here that's piqued your interest. And of course, I will cover all of these in reviews very shortly. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please be sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel. And for everybody else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye-bye.